So what if I told you that there are 5 big training camp battles that can determine which teams are going to the playoffs and which teams will be home during the playoffs and probably hanging out in Cancun? And we're not talking about these depth chart shuffles or these free agent acquisitions. No, we're talking about some big moves that can be franchise altering and can really vault a team into another stratosphere when it comes to making the playoffs and potentially making a run for a Super Bowl. We have a 4-way quarterback battle in Cleveland with a 5th round pick that people think that can actually shock the world. In New Orleans, we have a quarterback battle going on between 2 guys who have just thrown 6 touchdown passes in all of minicamp, and they're looking to replace Derek Carr to try to vault the Saints into a playoff spot in a very weak division. And Baltimore is looking to secure their left guard spot, which if they get this wrong, could really close the Ravens Super Bowl window. So I'm going to break down these 5 insane position battles, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand which teams have a shot to really make a splash and potentially win a Super Bowl, and which teams are going to be wasting everything. But let me tell you why these position battles are different than anything we've ever seen before. So the Cleveland Browns have the most unhinged quarterback battle going on we've probably ever seen in NFL history. You have Joe Flacco, who was a 39-year-old quarterback who just years ago pretty much saved the Browns season, could have saved their franchise. He's going up against Kenny Pickett, who was a bust in Pittsburgh, moved on to the Philadelphia Eagles, won a Super Bowl there, and he's now looking to prove that he was actually worth a first-round pick, and people are calling him a bust. He's trying to play his way back into a starting position, going up against a decorated elite veteran in Joe Flacco. Then the Cleveland Browns bring in Dillon Gabriel through the draft, who was pretty good at Oregon. I mean, yes, his measurables were not the best, and that's why he slipped down in the draft, but this kid can sling the ball. This kid has raw talent, and, you know, in the right position, in the right scheme, he can really be a threat at the NFL level. And then you have Shedeur Sanders, who again is Coach Prime's son. This kid was getting elite football knowledge from an early age. A lot of scouts had him as a first-round pick. A lot of scouts had him as the first overall pick. We all know what happened with that. He slipped down to the 5th round. Cleveland took a chance on him, and he's looking to compete now in camp against Joe Flacco, against Kenny Pickett, and against Dillon Gabriel. This is a crazy quarterback matchup. This camp battle is going to be nuts for the Cleveland Browns. And if they get this wrong, it could be franchise altering. And here is the insane part. We don't know what's going on. Any one of these guys can win the starting job. Like I said, Flacco had that magical run for them. He's the grizzled veteran. He knows, you know, he can just kind of walk into an offense and just immediately amplify it. But is that the way that the Browns want to go? Do they want to go with the grizzled veteran, or do they want to bring in somebody younger, like a Kenny Pickett, like a Dillon Gabriel, like a Shedeur Sanders? Let them play, and if they fail, you move on, you get a high draft pick. There is a lot that is going on in the front office of the Cleveland Browns, and a lot's going to go on during minicamp. Did they bring in Joe Flacco just to be a guy to mentor these young quarterbacks, or do they actually think that they can compete this year? Pickett has a lot to prove. You know, he's still young. He does have good mobility. It's just his accuracy. Pittsburgh gave up on him. He needs to prove to himself and to the rest of the league that he can actually play. Dillon Gabriel, he brought good college production. Scouts were raving about his arm talent. It's just his measurables weren't there. A lot of people thought that he was the worst quarterback in this entire draft class. While he wasn't taken at that spot, a lot of people think that he could be good, but his measurables just weren't there. And then you have Shedeur Sanders, and I know a lot of people don't like him because of, you know, his dad and some of his off-the-field things and his arrogance people don't like, but you got to be honest with yourself. This kid has the it factor. His dad has been coaching him from a very young age. He has the arm talent. He is one of the most leading passers in all of Colorado history. Now, yes, he threw the ball 100 times a game, but he still has arm talent. This kid is also very tough, mentally and physically. His offensive line in Colorado was terrible. This kid was on the ground so much. So he is in a division right now which is just filled with elite defenders. Not the Cincinnati Bengals. They need to figure that out. But he's going to get hit a lot in the AFC North, and I think he fits the scheme. And again, any one of these guys can win the starting job. Are they going to stick with Joe Flacco? Are they going to go with a younger player like Kenny Pickett, who is proven that he can play at the NFL level to a certain extent? Or are they going to go with a rookie? Are they going to go with Dillon Gabriel? Are they going to go with Shedeur Sanders? This can really change the trajectory of what they do in next year's draft. Do they want to tank, or do they want to try to find themselves in a wild card position? I think the Cleveland Browns have enough sense to know they're not going to win the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens are just too good right now. They're not going to win AFC North. But can they try to push their way into a wild card spot? And do they think they can do that with one of these rookie guys? Or do they think that it's just best to kind of throw them out there into the fire, see what they got? If it doesn't work out, you get a good draft pick for next year, because they do have 2 first-round picks because of that Jacksonville Jaguars trade where they traded up to take Travis Hunter. So what will they do? This is a crazy camp battle in the front office for the Cleveland Browns, but also on the field. These 4 guys are all competing for a starting job, and I don't think we've ever seen this before in the NFL. And then I think the Saints are flying under the radar for a crazy quarterback competition. After losing Derek Carr, they now have Jake Haener, which we saw him play last year. It was kind of rough. Spencer Rattler, who everyone thought he was going to be the starter this year. They thought he was going to get a legitimate shot. He was going to be the day one guy, and that, we would really see what he can do on the field. But then they bring in Tyler Shook or Shaw or Schlaw, whatever his name is. I don't know how to say it. But he's 25 years old. He can sling the ball, but he does have a lot of injury history under his belt. So who knows what's going on with that. But the kid can sling the ball. I'll tell you that for a fact. Because Derek Carr is gone, and instead of reaching for a veteran, instead of trying to trade for Kirk Cousins, which I don't think the Falcons would trade him within the division, instead of going out and trying to trade for like Matthew Stafford or even trying to get Aaron Rodgers, they got these 3 young guys, and they're just going to let them battle it out in camp. Now, is this the same thing with the Cleveland Browns? Are they just going to let these guys battle it out? Throw one of these guys into the fire. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, you get a high draft pick for next year, because the quarterback class next year, not that bad. Arch Manning may not come out. I have a feeling that they really want Arch Manning because of the whole family name being in New Orleans and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens with that. But they are just having one of 3 of these guys just go out there and kind of prove it. Just see what you can do. Now, Tyler Shough looks to be the guy. He ended up throwing 3 touchdown passes. He was 23 for 28 in minicamp. He's throwing the ball pretty well. And they still have Chris Olave. They still have Rashid Shaheed. They have playmakers, Alvin Kamara as well. So are they actually going to try to compete? Because this division is kind of weak. It depends on what you think about Michael Penix. Do you think that he can actually play at a high level for the Falcons? I think the clear, in a way, winner is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that division. But you never know. Anything can happen. The Carolina Panthers can also sneak up on you. So it seems like, are they trying to compete? Are they just going to try to just throw this guy out here? But they used a second-round pick on Tyler Shough or whatever his name is. Again, I don't know. I didn't name these people. But it seems like they're trying to be competitive while also not trying to be competitive. Does that make sense? Like, they want to be competitive, and then maybe like at the halfway point, if they're like 2-6, pull back and then tank. Try to get a guy in the draft. But right now, it seems like the first half of the year, let's be competitive. Because Spencer Rattler has also been slinging it in minicamp right now. He has been 24 for 28. He threw 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has NFL experience under his belt. He didn't play the best, but he still, is able to read a defense. This kid was highly touted in college. Now, a lot of factors came into it, why he fell in the draft, and a lot of people didn't like his attitude, and he didn't play that well in his final year in college. But, he's looking good in minicamp. He's competing, so who knows what's going to go on with this quarterback battle? And who knows if one of these guys, either Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler, can vault this team into a wild card or even winning a division. It's crazy. I don't think Jake Haener really has a shot. The one shot that he got last year, oh my God, that was brutal to watch. But I mean, can he fight his way to be a serviceable backup in the league? Maybe. But we will see what goes on with that. I think this is really a 2-man battle, but, Jake Haener is in the middle there, just, trying to compete. He's a dark horse candidate to win that starting job, but we will see. I think this goes down to Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, and this could be, again, a decision where whichever quarterback you got, you play the first half of the year. If you're good, you ride the hot hand, you try to make the playoffs, and if they're bad, if Tyler Shuck's the starter and he's 2-6, you bring in Spencer Rattler. And then if Spencer Rattler's bad for a few games, give Jake Haener a shot, see what you have, tank, go try to get a top-end quarterback, maybe even tank again next year. Trade some guys and get some first-round picks so you can actually go out and get an Arch Manning, because it seems like that's who they really like. I thought that they were going to go the route of Jackson Dart this year because of the whole Ole Miss thing, and it seems like that they were going to a lot of their throwing sessions and pro days for Jackson Dart, but that just didn't happen. We all know that he is a New York Giant right now, but it seems like the Saints have some sort of direction that they want to be competitive, but they also don't at the same time, depending on what they do in the beginning of the year. So we'll see. This is not a crazy quarterback battle like the Cleveland Browns. It's a quarterback battle, but it could actually shape the NFC South like big time. One of these teams has to win the division, and why can't it be the Saints? Honestly, why can't it be? And then we move on to the Baltimore Ravens, which they have a problem that could honestly close their Super Bowl window. Lamar Jackson is coming off a season where he probably could have won MVP. He's still rushing at a crazy level. They have Derek Henry, but they really need to get this left guard position right, because this could blow up their entire offense if they put the wrong piece there at the beginning of the year. Patrick McCarry is gone, and now they have 3 guys who are battling in the trenches to figure out who is going to try to protect Lamar Jackson and block for Derek Henry. And this is a big deal considering who the players that they have in the AFC North. You got to try to block Myles Garrett. You now got to try to block Cam Hayward, TJ Watt. You got to block Derek Harmon and whoever the Bengals are throwing out there, because they don't have Shamar Stewart. He's in a contract dispute. Trey Hendrickson isn't there. So we'll see what goes on with them. But there are some big-time D-lines in the AFC North. You got to get this right if you're the Baltimore Ravens. Andrew Voorhees, who has talent, but he has a very extensive injury history. And when you're going up against TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, you can't really have weak links on that offensive line. Now, if he's good at pushing through these injuries and playing at a high level, again, he has the talent, but you want a guy who's in there who's going to be a dependable starter for you. You don't want a guy who's just going to be getting injured in the first 3 weeks of the season, which, again, you can't really predict injuries, but you don't want an injured guy playing in that spot. You have Ben Cleveland, who has size and he has strength, and while he's never been a full-time starter in the NFL, this is a huge leap for him. Is the pressure going to get to him? Is he going to be able to protect Lamar? Is he going to be able to take that huge leap and be a full-time starter? Like, you are going to protect an MVP. Like, can you take on that massive leap from going from a guy, he got playing time, but you are thrown into a very difficult spot now in the AFC North. And then you have Garrett Dellinger, who is a rookie, who does have talent. Again, all these guys have talent, but you know what happens with Lamar Jackson in big games. I don't think you want 2 of your players on the offensive side of the ball collapsing. You don't want Lamar and then your left guard to collapse. No, you want this all to fall on your quarterback. I know that sounds bad, but you don't want Lamar to lose a game because of your left guard. You want Lamar to lose a game because of Lamar. You get what I'm saying? The whole Ravens offense is built around mobility, and Lamar can't worry about the left side of his line breaking down, because then it ruins the entire system of what they want to do. Lamar is good at scrambling and rushing around, but he also needs to have that peace of mind that there's not going to be a free rusher coming at him and trying to destroy him from the left side. So you need to get this right, because if you get it wrong, Lamar is going to have that lingering feeling in the back like, I can't trust the left side, so it's just going to be immediately bailing out of a play, immediately trying to just go to the right, and then everyone's going to know what he's wanting to do. And it's hard to shut down Lamar, but it's easier to shut down Lamar when you know where he's going. And the AFC is absolutely loaded. You have the Bills, you have the Steelers, who, again, aren't the best team right now, but they do have a good defense. You have the Chiefs, who can scheme to stop him. There's a lot going on in this division, so they really need to get this right. We all know about Lamar Jackson in big games, and like I said, you do not want your left guard failing you. You do not want your left guard to be the reason why you were bounced out of the playoffs early again. This team has Super Bowl aspirations. Lamar Jackson cannot get to the big game. This is one piece that you need to get right so you can maybe vault your way into the Super Bowl. Because this isn't just about depth chart positioning. No, this is about protecting an MVP of the league. This is about possibly taking a team to a Super Bowl. Your left guard being wrong can honestly derail your entire season. I know a lot of people are probably like, it's just your left guard. No, this is a big deal for the offense that the Ravens want to run. You do not want Lamar worrying about the left side every single play. That collapses the whole system. That gets everybody off rhythm. Yes, you could just hand it to Derek Henry and maybe he'll run somebody over, but a free rusher is going to stop him in the backfield. So you need to get this right if you are the Baltimore Ravens in a loaded AFC. Speaking of the AFC, we have a position battle going on with the Chargers in minicamp, and it is Najee Harris. He came over from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is now a Charger, and they also drafted Hampton in the first round. Could this be a big mistake for the Chargers, giving Najee all that money? I know it's just a one-year deal, but Hampton, a first-round pick, you may want to get him as many touches as possible. Yes, there has now been a swing of running backs getting paid, but would it have been better off for the Chargers not to give Najee Harris money and just take Hampton? I know they didn't have that guarantee they would get him, but in hindsight now, it's looking like, well, maybe we should have just stuck with Marion and then got a cheaper guy to back him up. But now they have a position battle that you have a 1A, 1B at running back, but could it be a mistake because maybe you want to give Marion even more touches, but you have to split it up now because you have Najee Harris on the roster? Because Hampton ran a 4.64 in the combine. He's 22 years old, coming off a dominant college career. Najee Harris, he had a lower snap count in Pittsburgh. It seemed like Jalen Warren was kind of taking over that backfield. He gave the Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit more of a spark. It seems like he's kind of losing a step. While I'm not saying Najee Harris is bad, it might be better off just to go with the hot hand because Hampton, as I said, is coming off a very good collegiate career. He is riding high right now while Najee is coming in. He's kind of trickling into this roster right now, not getting his fifth-year option picked up. He's coming in with lower hopes for Charger fans. It seems like Charger fans want Hampton to be the starter more than Najee Harris, but you gave him that money. You got to play him for that paycheck. You also have Kamini Vidal. I know that he is kind of a dark horse, but he can play. This kid can actually play. He played last year, but you spent a significant investment on Najee Harris and Hampton, but who knows? He could find his way as a third down passing back. He could find his way in some certain packages. He could be a legitimate guy for the Chargers, especially in a run offense that Jim Harbaugh loves to execute. And this AFC West is brutal. You obviously have the Kansas City Chiefs. You have the rebuilding Raiders. They're looking to do a little bit of something. And then you have the Denver Broncos, who have a very good defense. So this is something that you kind of want to get right. You want to get your running back position right. There has been a big swing in running backs. Guys are getting paid now, and you got to get this right because you want to make sure that you get your investment out of Najee Harris, but you also want to make sure that you play Hampton to his strengths and enough. You don't want to waste a guy like that, sitting him on the bench because of Najee Harris. So this is a camp battle that is worth monitoring. It's also big for fantasy football. Who is going to be the starter for the Chargers? Because this is a big deal when it comes to fantasy football and when it comes to the Chargers in general. So we will see what happens in camp. Who do you have winning this position battle? Or do you think it's going to be 50-50 split right down the middle? Najee Harris, Hampton, and then they'll go from there. Maybe Najee goes to another team next year. We'll see. Let me know who you have winning that position battle. Because, again, they can't afford to get cute with this position battle. You want the best player on the field, period. That is it. This is a brutal division. You want to leap the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to leap the Denver Broncos. You cannot get cute with this. I know you gave Najee money. I know you had a significant pick with Hampton. You got to get this right. You got to play the best guy every single week. So, good luck to you, Charger fans. I hope that you play the right guy. I hope that you guys can knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. Just don't get cute with this. Play the best guy. Go from there. And then finally, we have the Chicago Bears, who seemingly are playing with fire with new head coach Ben Johnson. They have Cole Kmet on the roster, who was a very serviceable tight end, but they did spend a high draft pick on Colson Loveland, who's looking to be another pass catcher in this seemingly prolific offense. We haven't seen it all put together yet, but Ben Johnson is an offensive mastermind, and this tight end battle is one to be watching in training camp. Ben Johnson again turned Detroit into an offensive juggernaut. He liked what he saw with Caleb Williams. That's why he's making the switch over, and they're seemingly going all in on this offense. But this tight end battle can make or break how this offense functions and the success that they have on every single piece of the offensive side of the ball. Cole Kmet, again, has been solid, reliable. He knows the system. He knows the guys in that offense. But they spent a significant draft pick on Colson Loveland. So it's, do you go with the guy who's familiar, or do you go with the higher upside guy, which is Colson Loveland? I know that you can play 2 tight end sets, but you can't do that every play. Because Loveland, again, was a top tight end pick in the draft. He is very vertical. He has good hands, very good receiver. And while he has better strengths at that pass-catching position than Cole Kmet knows this offense. Cole Kmet knows these guys. So do you throw a rookie into the fire? Do you, try to let him learn by strictly playing? Or do you go with Cole Kmet and then ease Colson Loveland into the offense? That could be a mistake, because maybe you need Colson Loveland in the early games, but you want to ease him into the offense. You want Cole Kmet to be there for a safety blanket while Caleb Williams is learning this new offense, in real time. But that could be a mistake, because Colson Loveland could be an X factor and he's sitting on the bench because you want the familiarity going on in that offensive system. And this is crucial because Ben Johnson likes throwing to the tight end position. He had Sam Laporta when he was the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. So this is a position that he's definitely going to want to get right. And you're definitely going to want to get this right going into the season. While you can play and mix and match while you're in preseason, once real games start, you got to get this right. Because Colson Loveland can stretch the field. He can open up the offense. But he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. Cole Kmet, very familiar. He can do some of the things that Colson Loveland can do, but not to the level that he can. So we will see what goes on with this camp battle. This is one to really watch. This is an intriguing. This offense is going to be great. It's going to be fun to watch for the Chicago Bears, but they are in a loaded division. The Detroit Lions are still good. The Green Bay Packers are good. The Minnesota Vikings are good. So these could be some offensive shootout games in that division, and you got to get this tight end position right. And this is a camp battle that you should be watching closely for the Chicago Bears. So let me give you my predictions for all of these camp battles, because, I'm no NFL expert. I'm just a guy who reads a few things and watches TV, has NFL Network on. But here is what I think may happen for all of these teams that we have talked about. So I believe that Joe Flacco will be the opening day starter for the Cleveland Browns. I do think that at some point the Cleveland Browns are going to fall behind in the AFC, in the league, and I think they're going to start doing a quarterback carousel rotation. I think they'll start off with Kenny Pickett, and then if he plays bad, they'll go to Dylan Gabriel. I think the last man on the totem pole right now is Shedeur Sanders. There's going to be a lot of media clamoring for, you got to play Shedeur. Play Shedeur. He has the higher upside. But they're going to want to see what they have with everybody. And since they used a better pick on Dylan Gabriel than they did Shedeur Sanders, I think Dylan Gabriel will get a shot before Shedeur. But I have a feeling that all 4 of these quarterbacks will be playing at some point in the regular season for the Cleveland Browns. For the New Orleans Saints, I think Tyler Shuck is going to win the starting job. But I think, again, like the Cleveland Browns, they're going to fall behind in the division, in the NFC, in the league, and then they're going to move on to Spencer Rattler. And I don't think Jake Hayner's really going to get significant time to play. I think, if anything, he'll start 1 week. But with how bad seemingly the Saints look, I think they're going to start it off with Tyler Shuck. He's going to fall behind a little bit. Come week 9, they're going to be 3-6. Or they're not going to be looking absolutely the best. They'll move on to Spencer Rattler, seemingly try to tank while not tanking at the same time, and then get a high draft pick. So I don't see the Saints making a significant push even into a wild card spot. So I think both of these quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, will get playing time at some point during the season. Jake Haener may get a pity start in week 17, week 18. We'll see what happens with that. But I think that both of those guys, Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, will get significant playing time, because these Saints, they're not really going to be completely competitive in the NFC, in the NFL, in the NFC South. I think that they are the odd man out this season. For the left guard position for the Baltimore Ravens, I honestly think that this could be the most important camp battle of all of the NFL. I really do. I think that Andrew Voorhees is going to get that starting job. While he does have an extensive injury history, he has the talent, and I think that he is the best player to plug in there and protect Lamar Jackson on the left side. Again, you don't want this guy to get hurt. He does have a long injury history. I have a gut feeling that the Baltimore Ravens are going to get this right. I think the Baltimore Ravens are probably the best team in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball. Honestly, I think that if they get this right, I think they're the best offense in the NFL. I really, really do. And I hate saying that as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but I trust them to get this right. And I do think it's going to be Andrew Voorhees. And I do think he's going to play very well for them. Los Angeles Chargers, we're going with the Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton. I think they start off the year as a legit split 1A, 1B. For the first 5 or 6 weeks, it is split right down the middle. Both get the same amount of carries, maybe a standard deviation of 1 or 2. I think Omarion Hampton runs away with this job. Again, I watched Najee Harris in Pittsburgh. A lot of people said that he runs like he has wet jeans on. He has power. He does have a spark, but there was just times where Jaylen Warren was running the ball, and you could tell that this offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the time, it just had more of a pop. It just looked a lot better, and I think that Jim Harbaugh is going to see that as well. I think the Chargers are going to see that, and while Najee will still get touches, I believe Omarion Hampton will run away with this job, no pun intended. So for the first 5 or 6 weeks, it will be a 50-50 split. I think Omarion Hampton is going to take this job. Najee Harris will end up leaving the Chargers in the offseason, going to play for another team. Najee Harris still has talent. Do not think that I'm saying Najee Harris is bad, but I think they're going to want to go with the younger guy that they put a significant draft pick into. They took him in the first round. I think Omarion Hampton will run away with this job for the Chargers. Then for the Chicago Bears, I think Colson Loveland wins the job outright. He is the tight end one, and we could maybe see Cole Kmet be a trade target for some teams. I know the Steelers were looking for a tight end. Maybe Kyle Pitts gets traded away from the Falcons, and then they bring in someone like a Cole Kmet to fill that position. I think that since the Chicago Bears spent such a high draft pick on Colson Loveland, you're just going to throw him into the fire. You're going to rely on his athletic ability. You want him to be your day one guy. You want him to be the starter. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes, but the Chicago Bears have so many weapons on that offense. I think they're really going to figure it out. And Ben Johnson is smart enough to play to Colson Loveland's strengths. Yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to ask him to block a D end, and he's probably going to make a mistake. He's probably going to miss a chip, something like that, where it's going to be catastrophic for that drive. But Ben Johnson is smart enough to scheme these guys into the right position, put them where they need to be. I think Colson Loveland is going to open as the starter. Cole Kmet could possibly be a trade piece for the Chicago Bears. So where do I predict all of these teams to be? Because, a lot of these battles make a lot of sense. I don't think the Cleveland Browns are making the playoffs regardless who is their quarterback. I think the Cleveland Browns, again, will probably have a top 5 pick. While Joe Flacco gives them the best chance to make the playoffs, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think the Cleveland Browns, again, regardless of who they play, they are not making the playoffs. They will have a top 5 pick. They will be taking a quarterback at that top 5 spot, and then they are going to be going through their quarterback carousel yet again. The New Orleans Saints, I also think, are in the same boat as the Cleveland Browns. I don't think they're going to find their answer at quarterback. I don't think it's Tyler Shuck. I don't think it's Spencer Rattler. I think they are a bottom 5, maybe a bottom 8 team in the NFL. They're yet again are going to be, just bottom feeders in that division. They are going to be drafting a quarterback just like the Cleveland Browns. And hopefully they can find their franchise guy, because I know this whole Derek Carr thing kind of snuck up on them. The team probably knew. NFL insiders and fans alike probably didn't know this news was coming so abruptly. But I think the Saints are kind of throwing on this season, and they're going to be looking to find their quarterback of the future in the draft next season. So I don't think that, regardless of who plays for them, they're going to make a splash at all in the NFL. Then the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are the class of the NFL. While I think that they are going to win the AFC North, they are going to win that division. They'll probably be a top 2 seed in all of the NFL. I still yet again see them doing what they usually do, and just in a big game, they are going to choke it away. I think that they will win their first round matchup, and I don't think that we're going to see them in the AFC Championship game. I think it's going to be same old Baltimore, where, yeah, they're going to get this right. Andrew Voorhees, I think they're going to play him at left guard. They're going to get that right. Lamar is going to look like an MVP candidate the entire season. I think it's going to come down to just them choking it away yet again in the playoffs. So they're going to look like the class of the NFL. Everyone's going to think, oh, they're going to finally make it to the Super Bowl. I think they're just going to get bounced again and, you know, just complete their journey, because their journey always ends abruptly in the playoffs. I think that's going to happen yet again for the Baltimore Ravens. We have the Chargers, where, yes, this is a big position battle, but I think that the Chargers could end up sneaking their way into a wild card position. They are in a very tough division. I don't see them really making a huge splash, though, in the NFL. I see them probably getting bounced in the first round, probably by the Baltimore Ravens, probably by the Bills. So they're not there yet, in my opinion, but they can be a spoiler team, I will say. You know, they're going to be that team that you don't want to play. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to run you over. They're going to play well on defense, but I don't think it's going to be well enough to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, to beat a team like the Ravens or even the Buffalo Bills. So I think that they'll sneak their way into the wild card spot, but I don't think they're really going to make a huge splash in the NFL playoff picture. Same thing again with the Chicago Bears. I think that they can maybe be that scrappy team. I actually don't even think that they're going to make the playoffs this year. While their offense is prolific, I still think they're a few pieces away. And the problem is it's not that they're a bad team. The division that they're in is just brutal. So they could probably get away with playing some of these out-of-divisions teams, but these division games are really going to hurt. They could hurt or help them. I think they're going to hurt them more when it comes to the standings, and I don't even think I see them being a playoff team this year. But I do see them, again, being that spoiler team. They're going to ruin it for somebody in the NFL, whether it be AFC or NFC. They're going to be that tough team that can score a lot of points, but you're also going to score a lot of points on them. I think that they could be like the Washington Commanders last year, where you're going to get in some shootout games. You are going to have to play your hardest. But one or two mistakes here and there on defense, one or two mistakes here and there by Caleb Williams is going to ruin their season and keep them out of the playoffs. This was a very long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I hope you liked this breakdown. Let me know some position camp battles that I didn't touch. Are there other ones that you're looking forward to? I know that we have like Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. I think Aaron Rodgers far and away has that job. There's a lot of other ones, so let me know some of those in the comments. I hope you enjoy videos like this. If you want more videos talking about a preview for the NFL season, let me know. I have a video where I talk about the season preview for the Philadelphia Eagles. If there's another team you want me to preview, let me know that in the comments of that video. That would be awesome. Follow me on all of my socials. I'm going to be streaming here. I'll be playing some College Football 26 when that drops, some Madden. I like NHL. I'll play pretty much anything, Marvel Rivals. I just want to game and entertain you guys any way that I can. So check out those streams. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on TikTok for some short form videos. And yes, hey, thank you guys so much. Hit that sub button, hit that thumbs up button if you like videos like this. I really appreciate every single one of you. Have a beautiful day. Peace out, guys.